Welcome to another episode of IKONTUBE, a show dedicated to the influencers industry. In this season, we interviewed some of the hottest Los Angeles-based influencers and got to know more about their personal and business lives. I'm your host, Katya Walters. Today, I'm with a successful online entrepreneur who has been a full-time lifestyle influencer and blogger for over 8 years. She's self-managed her entire career and landed partnerships with brands like Qatar Airways, Dolce & Gabbana, Lexus, and British Airways. She won a Social Media Entrepreneur Award in 2018 and nominated for 2 Influencer Awards in 2020. She has over 1.5 million followers on social media platforms, and she's the founder of a successful digital media agency. Plus, you might not believe it, but she's a big fan of cars. I'm glad to welcome Diana Marks to IKONTUBE. So tell us a little bit about your background.
Well, I am a social media influencer, an agency owner, and a blogger, originally from Belarus, and I moved to the United States 10 years ago, but before that I moved to the United Kingdom, and I lived there for 2 years.
That's pretty amazing. How did your digital world journey start? What inspired you?
Well, I originally started as a blogger. That was back in 2012, I just moved to Los Angeles, and I was new in town, and I kind of was looking for an outlet to see and to learn about the city, to learn about new places, because I felt like I don't know much, I don't know where to go, what are the cool things to do and everything, and I wasn't able to find one. So that's how my blog, which is called LA by Diana, pretty simple, started, and that's how I kind of got into the digital world altogether. However, slowly I was looking into the blogging world, and I transitioned into fashion because I tested my content with my audience, and I saw that a lot of my audience resonated mostly with fashion content, and reason for that is because a lot of readers were not particularly based in LA. Some of them were, but not all of them. And so when I introduced fashion content, it actually was speaking to a vaster majority of people, because then they can dress like me and they can be based anywhere. So that's how I slowly transitioned into fashion blogging. And after that, I transitioned into social media. And after that, I launched my agency, which is Lex Digital Media.
Oh, busy girl.
Yes, it's a lot.
So with all this information, how did you start making money?
Well, I actually started monetizing my blog fairly soon, and I think it was soon for that time as well. I think I was just pretty aggressive in terms of making this my career. When I got into blogging and I started introducing fashion content, I kind of realized that there's a whole emergent industry out there. It was a very risky move. Nobody knew anything about blogging back then. Companies didn't know what it is. Some of them already started working with bloggers, but it wasn't widespread as it is now. So it was a huge gamble, but at the same time, I was determined to make it my career. So I guess when you're younger, you just have more energy and you believe more in your dreams, and I felt that it was so cool. It would be so cool if you can make a career out of creating content for the brands, and promoting it to your own audience. I felt like it's something unique. It's something that has never been done, and obviously it wasn't done before that. So that's how I kind of started slowly getting into monetizing it, and more importantly, I was more aggressive about it, where I would go after and introduce myself to brands. I would start registering on blogger platforms, and there were only a few back then, so it was less, I would say less competition, but I mean, it's hard to say it was less competition because there were still a lot of people that were trying to do blogging full time. But I guess it was just a lot of work that I put into it from the business perspective and the content perspective. So it wasn't like, I was just posting and waiting for things to happen for me. I was aggressively going after paid deals with brands.
Yeah, that's a good thing for people to make note of, is how much work goes into the back end of building.
Absolutely, yes.
How do you keep yourself up to date on all the trends and all the changes that are happening in this industry to stay relevant?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, it's really hard, but I guess over time you get used to it and it comes to you naturally. I would make a comparison with learning a foreign language. In the beginning you don't know anything, you kind of learn the basics, and then you slowly build on it. And for example, for me as an immigrant, I live in America, and every every year you learn something new, you know, if it's just like a few new words or a few new expressions or something like that. So the same thing goes for social media. I think in the beginning it was a lot to, you know, get a hold of and a lot to process, but over time you kind of already have a grasp of how it works, and you just slowly see the trends, and you watch your peers, what they're doing. You also watch the brands and what those are doing as well, because those are directly the companies that you work with. So I guess it's just constantly observing it, but I think I myself see social media as business, and every single platform that I'm on, I'm immediately trying to see the business aspect of it. So even, actually, a funny story, I just dabbled into TikTok and I spent probably 2-3 hours just learning the algorithm. So, and by learning the algorithm, I mean I was just constantly scrolling through the feed, seeing what does the platform think that I like, you know, why does it think so, you know, what does it react to. I read a lot of articles about it, so I just approach it, I guess, as like business, just like every platform that I had in the past.
That's incredible. I don't even know how to operate TikTok yet.
I know, it's a lot.
I know how to watch the video. That's about it.
Trust me, it's a lot. TikTok is like for very fast brains, which I feel very old when I got on.
I can try to do the dance, and it's just like, you know, what's the weekend one where they're like, you know, the duh.
Yeah, exactly that. And by the time you learn the moves, it's like a month has passed and it's already no longer relevant.
Exactly. And I'm like, where was that video?
Yeah.
I mean, there's like, you know, like I saw something really great like 2 months ago.
Exactly.
Yeah, there's like, okay, you're
it's
so
a very
cool.
fast-paced platform for sure. Yeah.
So what are the pros and cons of being in this industry and being an influencer?
Yeah, it's a very long answer, but I'll try to be as brief as I can. So the pros are obviously the lifestyle, you know, so the lifestyle that you get being an influencer and working with the brands that, you know, are simply unimaginable, you know, like as for myself coming from Belarus, I would never imagine that I would work with an airline or a country, you know, to promote a country or an airline. It's something mind-blowing, you know, so that's and sometimes stuff you do obviously just to go to another country and travel and see it and get paid for it, you know, it's not like it's easy, but you know, the way you word it, like you just get paid to go to another country, it's still mind-blowing, you know, it's amazing, and the things you do and the people you meet, it's just unbelievable. It's something that I don't see a lot of other careers, unless they're in the entertainment space, that can have all these perks, you know, in terms of lifestyle and meeting new people, you know, and traveling. So that's the first perk. The second perk is obviously the freedom of time. You know, you work for yourself, you work a lot, but when you work for yourself, you can pick and choose your schedule. Not all the time, you know, of course, if there's shoots and certain times, you know, where you have to be somewhere, but at the same time, you're in control, fully in control of your schedule. So I think that's another perk that is something that not a lot of other people would get, unless they're obviously self-employed. I would say another perk would be, I don't know. There's so many. I guess the possibility of growth, you know, like obviously, again, in this career, everything is in your hands, you know, so when you can actually dedicate yourself and you put a lot of work in, you can see results. So I guess that's another perk that I really value in this career path altogether. To go to the negatives, I think that's the first and the top one is dealing with misconceptions that come with this profession. It's a lot of people, you know, when they hear a word influencer, they immediately have an idea, you know, and they will place you in a certain box. And majority of people, sadly, they don't know about the professional aspect of it. So they think you're just taking pictures of yourself for fun and you somehow get paid for it and it's all easy. But the amount of work that goes into it and creating the feed and creating content and even building those relationships with companies that take years to build is just something that nobody ever talks about, or I think people don't talk about it enough. You know what I mean? So like majority of people still think that you're just like this girl taking pictures and somehow calls it a job, you know, where in reality there's a lot of work that goes into that. And so that's another thing too. A lot of, sadly, a lot of people who have a following but they don't monetize it, they somehow call themselves influencers as well. That creates a lot of questions from the general public too, because if they're not in this professional space, they think maybe you're unemployed. You just have a lot of followers and you don't have it as a, you know, you don't make money from it. So I guess those are two main misconceptions that I kind of see from people that are outside of the space. Obviously, within the space, at this point, you know, in time, social media is it's a huge market. Everybody knows, you know, if they're working in the space, they still know how much work goes into it. There's a certain level of respect for content creators, which I'm very happy to see, because back in the day, when I was starting out, 2012, 2013, it was still kind of like, who are these people?
Right.
You know? So yeah, so professionally speaking, I think we're getting to the level where we're being recognized, you know. And obviously the negatives is the same that comes with self-employment as well, where it's volatility. You know, sometimes you have a lot of campaigns coming in, sometimes there's periods of time when there's less campaigns, just like, for example, right now we're in the crisis situation across the country. Obviously, companies are reviewing their budgets, they're seeing what they're gonna spend on influencers, you know, and so obviously the flow of campaigns is much slower than usual. So these are obviously natural problems that self-employed people have altogether. You know, sometimes things are going better, sometimes things are going worse. You know, so that is another negative that I would say that comes with this profession as well. And the last one I would say is just you have to be on 24/7. So there's no official days off. You know, you're either interacting with the brands that you work with, or you're constantly interacting with the audience as well to keep them entertained and keep them engaged. So it's not like you can just disconnect for some time, you know, and not look at your phone or not do anything. So it's just not part of our career, sadly. So that's the thing that we kind of need to learn how to balance.
Well, those are all such interesting things, and learning about the different perspectives and everything like that, and how you've integrated, you did fashion and examined all this, and now I see all these cars and these amazing shots with cars. Like, how did you wind up getting into being a car enthusiast?
Well, it kind of started the same as with fashion content altogether. At some point I realized fashion is just oversaturated. The whole market is oversaturated. There's a lot of girls that know how to dress up, you know, and so I wanted to offer something unique to my audience that nobody else has offered. And it actually started back from my blog. On my blog, I created this category called Cars and Fashion. So I wanted to kind of mix the two together, and I wanted to be A, interesting to my audience, and B, bring another passion of mine, which is obviously cars. You know, you have to be passionate about it, otherwise you'll not be able to create content about it consistently. So I started from my blog and slowly introduced that content on my Instagram and social media as well, and it took off because I think it's just something unique and not a lot of influencers, especially female influencers, are offering. So that's how it all started, and obviously right now I'm loving it because it's just added a whole new pool of brands that I work with, and more importantly the content that my audience really resonates with, and it's unique and different from everybody else.
Expanding on your business life here, you're the founder of a digital media agency, right? How did you wind up doing this as well?
Yeah, that was actually a natural extension of my career. So I self-managed myself as an influencer over the years. So due to that, I was able to speak to companies directly and get their feedback directly after they do a campaign with me as an influencer. So I would see the market and understand that there's a need for their own branding. So the companies were already starting to work with influencers to promote their brand on the influencers page. However, their own page was lacking content, lacking storytelling and everything. So I saw that there's like a huge gap in the market and there's a huge need for that. And because of the fact that I've built all my platforms myself and I already had team members, you know, that helped me throughout the years, we kind of created this whole agency where we started offering this service to brands. Luckily, of course, they all came naturally to me because I already was working with them as an influencer. So that was like a natural extension of the help that I offered to them. And that's slowly took off, and it created a huge pool of services that we offer. So because of, I guess it's just something new, you know, and unique, and what we offer is specifically tailored to Instagram, and not a lot of agencies tailored just to one platform. So that's something new and unique. But on top of that, we started adding on more services and customizing them, and that's why it took off so fast.
That's so exciting. I mean, I think I need to call you. I need some help with my Instagram. Where do you see yourself going next professionally in your business life?
Oh my God, I don't know, because like this is something that keeps changing for me every year, because I have so many ideas. As you see, you know, my whole digital career keeps evolving and evolving. I would ideally love to get to the point where my agency is self-sufficient. At this point, I'm still very much involved in every step of the process, you know, because again, my name is on the line, you know, and even though I trust my team completely, there are certain elements, and there's also a personal element where I want to onboard new clients myself. I want to have a conversation with them. I want to give them my expert opinion. So ideally, I'd love to get to the point where I can train all the team members to be at a level where I'm at, you know, so that the agency can function sufficiently. And so once that is done, hopefully soon, you know, I was actually toying with an idea of writing a book, you know, and the book would involve not only social media secrets and tips, but also the personal aspect, the personal life aspect of a social media influencer, which is what I think a lot of people don't know of, you know, going back to the question of, you know, the negative aspects of the career, which I think the educational part of that particular aspect of life as an influencer would really help a lot of people excel in the career, because they will know what to expect, you know. Right. So this is something for me that was something that was slowing me down back in the day, because I didn't know if it was normal. I didn't know if negativity was normal, like, you know, negative comments and stuff like that. I didn't know if I'm going in the right direction. I didn't know if stalling in my career is normal too. You know, so I feel like if I would read a book about it, that somebody has gone through a similar experience, that would have helped me a lot. So that's kind of my ultimate future goal.
All right, now are you ready for the fun parts?
Oh yes, please bring it on.
All right, I'm gonna ask a few questions and just answer yes or no.
Okay, perfect.
Have you ever been jealous of another influencer?
Yes. And I want to be honest here, because again, that's the reality, you know, like, and I think a lot of people, they would, you know, just try to show it as a pink, beautiful world. But the reality is, of course, and the problem that social media causes, and I apologize to get into more detail, but I feel like that's the important aspect that I need to voice. The fact that a lot of people think that they look at influencers and they're like, oh my God, they have the perfect life, you know? And even though we know that we don't have a perfect life, you know, we still have the exact same problem when we look at other influencers. We're like, oh my God, she has an easier career than me. And the reality is she doesn't.
How come she got those boots?
Absolutely, yeah. Or how come she's working with that brand and I'm not?
Yeah.
And so that's the interesting part of it. So understanding jealousy is like, yes, you are jealous, but you also at the same time understanding where it comes from, you know, and it's irrational, but yet you feel it because you're human.
That's such a like understanding where it comes from is probably a big one.
Okay, I promise I'll keep it short.
Would you trade being an influencer for winning a multi-million-dollar lottery ticket?
No.
Would you post a picture of yourself naked for your dream car?
No. I mean, I can post a picture of myself dressed for my dream car. So I don't need to do that.
Thank you so much for joining us today. You've been like, just like, giving us so much to think about and so much information and like learning about this whole space. You've been really a gem to have today.
Well, thank you so much for having me, and I hope people will learn something new about this career path and will inspire more people to go pursue it.
Thanks for tuning in. If you'd like to watch more interviews with your favorite influencers, please like and share this video. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already, and see you soon.